Hello and welcome. Welcome to Live with Vickie and Senior Solutions. My name is Marian LaSalle, and today, of course, we have our host, Vickie Owens. Hi, Vickie.
Hi, Marian. How are you doing today?
Oh, fantastic. And I love that you're bringing this topic to the audience because it's important, especially as we get to be seniors. And we don't really understand why we're getting things like diabetes, and we're starting to get fat, and there's a lot of things that are going on in our bodies, and we need people like you who are going through this, and then you're telling us your experience, because that's exactly what you told us today. Is
Yes,
you're beating diabetes, and you're bringing that information to us. So thank you for doing that.
you're welcome. That's what I want to basically. I want other people to do the same thing. That's the thing. I want everybody else to be able to follow in that same path. And diabetes is nothing to play around with. It took me a while to figure that out, but it is a disease that is very debilitating. As the longer you have it, the worse it gets, the more it starts affecting your body and how you can function and living a healthy life. So I
Well,
want everybody to be able to do that.
I appreciate that. And for those of you who are new to this station, I want you to know that last week we did one on diabetes, beating diabetes, and today is part two. So if you're listening to this for the first time, please go back and watch part one, because Vickie does go into a lot of details about why she's doing this, why she's bringing this to our attention. Beating diabetes is very important, and we are talking about type 2.
Type 2.
Type 1 is totally different.
Yes.
And one of the things that I just love about what you're doing is you're offering these suggestions not as a doctor,
Right.
but as someone who has diabetes and is beating it.
Right. I'm basically what I'm the conversation we're having about diabetes is my experience as a diabetic. How
Right.
last week we talked about how I got there, how I was in denial, and there are a lot of people who are diagnosed and with diabetes, and they really we don't pay attention to it, and we wait until it starts really affecting our life, and we then all of a sudden it's what have I done? You know, we want to try to beat it before we get to the point where our kidneys are failing us. We're having unbelievable nerve pain. We're taking all this medication, so we are, basically not living a quality life. We want to live a quality life as we get older, by basically being tied to oxygen, medicine, and things like that. We want to have a healthy life, and it's never. I look at it as not too late. I'm 60 years old. Turned 60 last year. I'm going to be 61 on my birthday coming up next month. you know, and I just made the decision that I did not want to live a life where I'm going to be tied to medicine all the time. I wanted to live a quality life as I got older. So it's important that people really, if you have diabetes or even if you're pre-diabetic, that you make a change in your lifestyle so you do not go down the path of no return. According to to if you listen to the medical advice out there, there's no cure to diabetes, but that's not true. I mean, they don't have a medicine to cure it, but if you change your lifestyle, you can beat diabetes. You just
And
have
the
to
only
change.
people that are talking about that are people like you and the healthcare providers who are not selling drugs.
Correct, exactly. Because what is out there now, as far as diabetes help is managing diabetes, giving you the medicine so you can take the medicine. They do tell you to change your diet, but they don't tell you that it's curable. Now, when I will say that my doctor, when I first was diagnosed with diabetes, told me that it's like you can reverse this by they're suggesting with your diet and exercise and losing weight. Well, I was on losing weight is hard, period. It was, as you get older, it's even harder. So I would have these up and down things, and I thought I was basically doing better, which I was, but my blood sugar numbers still weren't going down um, far enough, and I didn't know what number I was supposed to hit. They didn't really tell me. So I went out this year and got a nutritionist and a doctor that really, that's all they focus on is, people who have digestive issues, diabetes, and things like that. So we're focused on that.
Right.
But one of the things that we didn't talk about last time was the reason, we're talking about it in general right now, but the reason you want to be diabetes is because it is the, I guess, catalyst to so many other diseases.
Well,
And
I'm glad you mentioned that because I know that when I'm watching TV right now during this COVID experience, that's what I'm calling it, a COVID experience. They tell us that the people that are the worst off, okay,
right,
are people with diabetes, obese, and after they turn 65. Those are the people that really have to worry about getting this.
yes,
So,
they're at high risk. Okay,
can you tell us why that is?
okay. People who have some type of chronic disease are at higher risk than others who don't. The reason, if you're 60, really 60 or over, you're high risk because you're older. If you have diabetes or heart diseases or anything like that, you're high risk for um, not really getting it, but being able to beat it. Okay. And the reason being is because it, in any type of disease, but especially diabetes, it is a disease that affects your immune system and being able to fight off diseases, infections, and things like that. Diabetes is the worst disease that is there that will really detriment your immune system because
Is it a disease or a condition?
no, diabetes is a disease. It is a truly is a disease. It's one of the diseases that's out there that really affects your immune system. Okay, so it's not it's not a condition. I don't know what if people think that, but it's not a condition. It is a
Well, I tell you why I thought it
Mhm.
is because you can change it. You can get rid of it with diet and exercise.
Well, there's a lot of diseases you can cure, but there's with medicine. But diabetes is one of those you can't cure with medicine. You will remove it from you by changing your lifestyle. In other words, is that if you because diabetes is basically your blood sugar is high and it's affecting your pancreas and the way you are able to release insulin. If you're and your how your body is absorbing or using insulin. And once your body gets to a point where, or your pancreas and your body gets to a point where it's not able to use the insulin properly, or it's not absorbing it right, then your blood sugars go up, and it's in your blood, it's in your, it gets it affects your tissues and everything else. Your heart, you start receiving issues with your heart, your arteries, and the whole 9 yards. Diabetes affects your blood and your body tissue. So what does that mean? It affects everything that's in your body. So if you don't reduce your risk or the things that your blood sugar in with diabetes, if you don't do something about it, you can die. People die of diabetes all the time, or they die of complications because of diabetes, and that means you know uh, kidney disease, heart failure, different heart diseases and things like that. So that's why it's important to beat it. Or if not, if you don't, if you're not due diligent in trying to beat it, which you really should if you have it, then at least manage it, pay attention to it, make sure you're paying attention to your numbers, your blood sugar numbers, your cholesterol numbers, the whole 9 yards. And everything your doctor tells you that you need to pay attention to when you're diabetic, you should go and see your doctor at least every 3 months minimum. Okay.
So,
Uh,
how do you know if you have it? What are the symptoms?
Symptoms. The one of the big symptoms is dark circles under your eyes, and you have black or dark rings on the back of your neck, and you can see that with children who are in that going in that direction. Other symptoms would be tingling in your fingers or your toes, and that's caused, that's because diabetes is affecting your nerves. So that's a nerve disease, and that's actually that diabetic nerve disease is the leading is the leading cause for kidney failure. So if you have tingling, and that's why I got very serious about this when I started getting tingling in my fingers. If you have tingling in your fingers or your toes, then it basically is leading toward kidney failure. Kidney failure. So those are the big signs. But there are other skin conditions that you will see where you'll have really hard skin on your feet and sometimes on your hands. That's a condition of diabetes or signs that you're pre-diabetic. Let's see, I have a whole list here of uh, signs here. Those are ones that I know off the top of my head because I've experienced them. Um,
Right.
if you're not drinking enough water and you're going to the you're urinating a lot, that's a condition. Uh, if you're tired or fatigued more than you think you should be, that's a condition. You need to look at that. Um, Oh, and if you find yourself always thirsty, that's another sign that your blood sugar is high. You're leading into a danger zone. One of the other things that I didn't know was a sign of when your blood sugar, until I experienced it, when your blood sugar is too high, you start getting nauseated. Anytime I know that in the past. That I was nauseated. I just didn't feel. I was very uncomfortable. It was because my blood sugar was too high. And that's something that I had no clue. Someone had to tell me that. I had no idea because I was basically a novice into being a diabetic at the time. I had no idea. But the leading things why you want to get rid of the diabetes or beat it, is you do not want to have kidney failure. Kidney failure leads to what? Dialysis, kidney replacement. It's not a good that that anytime somebody told me about kidney failure dialysis, that's all I had to hear was that I do not want to go down that direction.
You're like when that doctor told me, you're on the edge of a cliff, Marion, and you
Yes,
can either jump off or fall off, or you can turn around and go the other way.
right.
So, yeah, for
So
you, dialysis was
dial that was
that was
like I
it.
said, well, the tingling in my fingers. When I got the tingling in my fingers, and I was asking my doctor, "What is this?" And they wouldn't give me an answer. I was like, "Okay, why are you not telling me? I want to know." I was like, "Why are you not?" It wasn't my main doctor, or someone that was stepping in for him, but they wouldn't tell me why I was getting tingling in my fingers. So
That's
I did
weird.
my. I know. I was just like, because they weren't sure. They didn't want to give me, a diagnosis unless they did some tests and things like that. So, but they, pretty much said they were thinking that it was probably from being diabetic. They didn't come out and say 100% for sure, but that's what. But when I talked to my
Uh,
doctor, they did do tests or whatever, and they said, yeah, your numbers are up. I went, oh, great.
yeah.
And the other thing was I had protein in my kidneys. So that's another sign when you go to the doctor, and when you do go to your doctor, you want to make sure. I'm very proactive in looking at my blood results, and um, when you see protein in your urine, then which is in your kidneys, then that's another sign you're heading toward kidney failure. Okay,
Oh,
yes,
okay. Well,
kidney
we don't
failure,
want that.
and
We
you
definitely don't
you
want
don't
that.
want that. So you really have to pay, like I say, pay attention to your numbers, really be due diligent about your health, and you have to be proactive about it yourself, and
Right.
stick to it. But kidney failure is the number one thing that basically or comes out of people who are diabetic and are not paying attention and not following doctor's procedures, you're not managing your diabetes. Um, that's going to happen. Over
Okay.
time, that's going to happen.
My grandmother had diabetes and she lost her vision as well.
Yes, vision is another. Yeah, that's another one because you'll start having um, different types of buildup in in your retina, and it's a condition of diabetes. When you start seeing crusty feet and toes, and your hands start getting scaly or they're dry a lot, itchy. That's another condition, is when your skin is itchy. When you start, and you don't see a rash or anything like that. That's a condition. That's a condition of high. Your blood sugar is too high,
Uh-huh.
over time. And
Okay.
if you're diabetic, and you've been diagnosed with diabetes, then you're not doing something right. Because if you're managing your diabetes, in other words, you're taking your medicine, you're having a healthy diet, exercise, then these symptoms of diabetes won't show its ugly face, and you can beat it by managing your diet. Number one, be and exercising. Exercise, believe it or not, has a big results with diabetes.
Sure.
It truly does, because it's you're pumping your heart, you're getting your heart rate up, your blood is flowing, through your heart better, and you just flushing out the toxins. That's the one of the big things, is to flush out your toxins, that are causing all these infections and diseases and things like that. So you want to drink a lot of water. I said this before: drink a lot of water, exercise, and eat your green vegetables. I don't want to go into the eating the green vegetables like I did the last time. I felt like I was, somebody's mother. Eat your vegetables, but it is important, because the vegetables, the green leafy vegetables, are, the broccolis, the greens, and things like that, have that magic vitamin K and A in it.
Yes, yes. Well, let me remind everyone who's watching the show, or who is listening to us on a podcast, that Vickie is here every Tuesday at 1 o'clock Central Time, and she wants to be able to talk to you about all things senior related. So she's going to be talking about benefits. She's going to be talking about health care. She's going to be talking about insurance, Medicare. There's a lot of different things that go into living a healthy, happy life as a senior. And Vickie is not only here for us, but she is going through it as well. So it's really nice when you can have somebody that's been through it, or it can just turn around and teach us what they've already learned. And diabetes is type 2 anyway, is more for the seniors. It is people that are over 50 really start getting, noticing that they could be pre-diabetic from their doctor. I noticed that. Now let's talk about um, exercise a little bit, because I have heard from all the professionals that exercise is important because, and this is how they described it to me, and this is how I really got it. Have you ever looked at a pond that was stagnant? It just sat there, there was no movement. Did
Mhm.
you notice there was a lot of green stuff that was just kind of hanging?
Building
Oh,
up.
that's because there's no movement. If there was a spring in there, or they had a fountain, or if they had some kind of movement going, you wouldn't see that build up because there's movement. So in this universe that we live in, we need to move. We need to move our body. We need to get things going. And so think about the green slime the next time you decide you don't want to go walking. All right? Just my 2 cents.
That's your 2 cents. That's what I haven't heard, Mary. I haven't heard about. If you don't exercise, you're gonna have green slime in your body. But that's kind of true. Oh, and the other thing is that you are what you eat. Everybody hears that you are what you eat. So I like I said, the you know biggest thing when if you have that, I'm not telling anyone to don't listen to your doctors or don't do anything. I'm like I said, I'm not a health professional, but I'm telling you that you can take charge of your health yourself by following your doctors. And I know a lot of people, uh, basically going to see a doctor, you have to pay a copay and all that kind of stuff. And some people don't like going through that whole thing. Now, if you're a senior and you're on Medicare, you really shouldn't have any issues as far as going to see your doctor, in that Medicare provides health care for you. So if anyone needs to hear more about that, they can always contact me about what Medicare does for you as far as being a senior. If you haven't really looked at all your options, you want to do so, and you can talk to me about that. Call me, text me, or go to our group page and just ask questions. I basically go to the group page every day, so just ask questions if you have any questions about how Medicare can basically assist you in making sure you are following procedures as far as your health care is
Mhm.
concerned.
And for those of you who are listening to the podcast, I'm going to tell you what Vickie's phone number is. It's 281-849-8373. And you can always text her on her mobile device, which is 713-444-3269. I want you to be able to see that Vickie is very friendly and she will answer your questions. There's no pushiness to Vickie. She really is in it because she cares. And I know this firsthand. She's been a good friend of mine for many, many years. And I know she cares. She cares about how we live, not just live, but live a healthy, happy life. And so there's a lot of different resources that she has, and she wanted to bring this to us on the show because she can now just give us all the resources that we need to take advantage of it. It's still up to us to
Yeah,
take advantage of these resources, but Vickie wants to share it. And so I'm really grateful that you're here, Vickie, giving
thank
us this
you, thank you.
information.
Now, the look at the resources that I have are not just I mean, because I have a network of a lot of health professionals myself, not just on a personal level, but because of the clients that I have. So I can refer you to doctors in your area if necessary. I can check to see if the health plan that you're on, basically that doctor's within that network. I can even check your medicine and make sure that your medications are in line. I'm not saying I'm a professional or anything like that, but I can check your medicines and say you might want to talk to your doctor about this medication, or whatever, because medication, again, you really want somebody that's really due diligent with you, your doctor, or nutritionist or whatever, that's paying attention to all aspects of it. Diabetes is a serious issue, and so you don't want to have any conflicts against the medication you're taking for diabetes with supplements that you're taking for diabetes. Because I know a lot of people have heard, I should take this, I should take this, or take this for my diabetes. And I'm not saying that it's wrong, but I'm saying is that you need to verify and check with your GP or your PCP or your nutritionist to verify that it's not in conflict with with your medications that you're taking. Because you're diabetic, more than likely you're also taking cholesterol medicine, and you're also taking blood pressure medicine, you know, or some type of heart medicine. Um, Many of one of the things I didn't talk about with the blood pressure medicine, there are a lot of, there are certain blood pressure medicines that do assist with diabetes, and so you may be your doctor may be giving you or prescribe you a medication that is a blood pressure medicine that really is also helping with your diabetes in protecting your liver. Okay, there are certain medications out there that are used to, yeah, help blood pressure, but at the same time they're protecting your liver. Um, and because I don't have high blood pressure, however, I've been prescribed a blood pressure medicine to protect my liver. Okay, so but these are things that you want to talk to your doctor about, making sure that the supplements that you're taking are in line with the medication that you're taking. There are certain supplements that are good. I know everybody's heard about cinnamon. Everybody's heard about aloe vera or whatever. The aloe vera is good for our skin, because one of the big things that is I talked about kidney failure, but one of the second biggest thing that the diabetes you will see is skin diseases. We just touched on that, but you will see skin diseases fall in line with being diabetic and not paying attention to it, or being diabetic and being diabetic for a long period of time. And beating diabetes to me is important because you can be diabetic and not be over 60. Okay. Many people are diagnosed before they turn 60. It's just that they don't really pay attention to it or really give it a strong focus because during that time, because maybe we're still working, we still have active lives, the kids, this and that or whatever, and until, when we turn 60 or when we get to the retirement years, that's when we're basically like, okay, kids are gone, I have a little more time, and all of a sudden, oh, I don't feel well. Like, or I can't move the way I used to move, or, this is affecting me or whatever. And it's because that we didn't pay attention to the diabetes when we were younger. Uh, I'm an example. I can say this because I'm a diabetic. I was diagnosed when I was in my 50s, and I was just too busy to pay attention. I was in denial and didn't really um, focus on doing the things the doctors told me to do that I wouldn't be diabetic. I said, okay, so, and I am not by myself. I know that there's too many people out there that have done the same thing that I have done. But now I'm ready. I'm like, we're gonna beat this thing. Do not want to be diabetic anymore. I want to live a healthy life until however long God wants me on this earth. I have a prime example is I have one of my mom's dearest friends. Uh, she lived to be 93. Okay, if you saw this woman on the street, you would not know she was 93 years old. Oh, sorry about that, guy. You would not know she was 93 years old at all. She was active. She was driving. She was doing walking every day. She was just everywhere, And I look at her and I go, that's how I want to live when I'm 93 years old. I want to be able to like walk in the park or travel a lot, still be able to drive, whatever. So my auntie was the same way, and she was diagnosed in her later years with diabetes. Okay, and she actually died of pancreatic cancer that led from diabetes. Get the drift that I'm moving toward? Why it's a personal to me, in that I had it in my family. And she was 90. My auntie was 90 when she passed, but she didn't get diabetes until she was later in her life. However, that's what she basically passed because of diabetes, having pancreatic cancer. So it's important to pay attention to your life and how you live your life. Eat your vegetables, do the healthy things. We're just gonna have to. I know I keep saying eat your vegetables. And the other, I talked about. I don't want to go repeat the things I talked about, last week. But that is important. Eating your vegetables, cutting things out of our
I
diet.
think a lot of it has to do with your mindset.
Yeah.
And so listening to people like you who really care, I think it makes a big difference than just having somebody say, eat your vegetables. No, it's because we want to live a healthier, happier
Yep.
life. Nobody wants to live a miserable life. Well,
Right.
maybe some people do, but I don't know them. And in order to do that, there's certain things that you need to do, especially as we become seniors. And that's why you're the senior advocate. You're
Yes.
the healthcare advocate
Yes.
because you know what we need to do, and you're not beating us over the head with it. You're suggesting to live a healthier, happier life. Eat your green vegetables. Take a walk, exercise. Strength, whatever you call it,
Strength
strength.
training. Yeah. Strength
Yeah,
training. Yes.
and that doesn't mean you have to go to the gym. You could take anything like a book,
Exactly. You can
and you
take a
could
book.
just anything to get moving and building your muscles is going to help, right?
Right. And the thing is 20 minutes a day to raise your heart rate. You want to do some type of cardio to raise your heart rate 20 minutes a day. And that could be just, believe it or not, that could be just, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot to turn this off. That could be just, sitting in place and like stepping in place,
Or
sitting
putting some music on and dance
there and
around a
dancing,
little bit.
or
That
exactly.
sounds good to me.
Yeah,
Wow.
You can be very creative. I mean, even if it's just standing up and marching in place for 20 minutes, or, and there are certain things you can do at home to build your heart rate, but you want to do it for at least 20 minutes. 15 to 20 minutes is what's recommended, as far as getting your heart rate up to a certain level.
Absolutely. And we can do that. Just turn on some good music. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. It has been such a treat to have Vickie here explaining to us why we want to beat diabetes. It's not fun, okay? It's not good, and it leads down a path of, so we don't want to do that.
And I just want to make one last statement before we go, is
yes.
that most, during this coronavirus thing, that everyone who has passed that did not, make it, diabetes was the reason why. Everyone that went in had diabetic. I mean, that's the statistics that have been shown, that the majority of the people who basically did not make it were diabetic, because their immune system had been, was not
compromised.
It had been compromised, correct.
Yes. I understand that. Yeah. All right, so meet us back here again next Tuesday at 1 o'clock Central. We're on YouTube and Facebook, and we're also on all your podcast channels. And we want to thank you again for joining us. I hope you'll share this with your friends, your neighbors, and your coworkers, because I think it's important. So, Vickie, do you know what we're going to be discussing next week?
Next week, we're going to go into actually your Medicare, going to Medicare and explaining Medicare, on a big overview of Medicare for people who are just turning 65 or people who are eligible for Medicare. Please tune in, because we will talk about, all the different moving parts of Medicare, and overall,
we need to hear that.
And for those who are already on Medicare, it's a good time to review your plans, review everything that's going on, because there'll be a time in a few months that you'll have to make a decision on changing. So
there you go. All right. Well, thank you, and we'll see you again next week. If you have any questions, let us know. Bye for now.